how big Fat Lip got as it kept going up, and then it actually went to #1, and then it's like Motivation One specifically was my idea originally, and I hated that video because it didn't look anything like what I had explained. My liver failed and I ended up in the hospital, and I was stuck there for 4 weeks, and all my organs were failing, and I was going in and out of the ICU.
So it's been almost a full year since Sum 41's final show.
I know, not even a full year yet, though.
We're coming up.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you closing that chapter?
You know, it surprisingly feels like it's been a while. Like, it feels longer than a year, in some ways, and then some ways, like everything in my life and in my past, it always feels like it's right there. Like, memories don't feel that far distant, but I don't think about them very often because I'm very much more present and forward thinking. So if I do think about it, it's like, oh yeah, it was like just yesterday. But I don't really spend a lot of time in memory lane.
Do you have any emotions?
None.
Like I missed those.
No, just kidding.
I'm done.
No.
Any emotions like missing having the guys around you playing those songs to the crowd?
I do love performing, and I loved playing those songs. I don't miss... I mean, I did it for so long that I feel like the touring, the constant being on the road for 10 months a year, every year for the past 25 years, it's like, it's the travel and all that, kind of like being away from family and just that, you know, I'm never sleeping. You're always like worrying about getting sick, and there's just like the whole grind of it I don't miss. But I do miss performing songs, and I mean, it's not that I miss, it's that I'll always love performing and playing those songs.
When you got out with the Jonas Brothers, did that give you the same kind of feeling as if you were playing?
Anytime I go out on stage with somebody, because I've done it with Good Charlotte, Jonas Brothers, or Avril recently, every time I get out there, I'm a little nervous first because it's been a while, and I'm like, I hope I remember how to be out on stage because I haven't done it, and you kind of forget what you normally do. Then the music starts, and it just guides you. You just do what you do because the music makes you do what you do. And then it's over like that, and I go, I want to stay out here. I want to do more. But it's only ever one song, and then I'm out.
We also, at 30 years of being in the same band,
Yeah.
reflecting on the entire process, what's the biggest lesson that you learned from that?
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many lessons. I mean, I feel like it's prepared me for so many things. I was just telling somebody that I feel like it prepared me for having children because you're managing so many different emotions. And a lot of times the music business, and whether it's the band or the music industry, we're all kind of children. So, and being the leader of the band, I have to kind of like manage a lot of that. And there's personalities and emotions. And a lot of times you're on the road, people have things that pop up that are like, feel like tantrums of a child sometimes. So it's like that prepared me in a way for kids.
Did you always feel like that was your responsibility to take on to try and navigate it being the band leader?
No, it's just, it falls on the band leader a lot of times.
Even in those early days, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the earlier days, we were all just so young and a little bit more carefree and didn't have like real lives outside of the band. So much less bothered us.
Right.
And we didn't have such a big organization around it. It was just kind of us. And we were the kids, and everybody around us were older than us. And then we've been around for a while, and everybody's got, in the band, has different lives and different priorities and different wants and needs that you have to worry about and consider and respect. But then you also have people like working in the organization that are a lot younger, and it's like they're early touring, and like they're, you know, there's things just pop up, you know, it's just, there's a lot of personalities on the road, and they're always different because when you go on tour, you don't always have the same people with you. It's like a new touring circus every time.
Did you try and keep the same people around to try and keep it for familiarity?
Sometimes, yeah, we have. And sometimes, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of people in our industry die. I've lost more crew people than I have band friends. You know, like more people that have died in my life have been on the people you wouldn't know. They're not famous,
Right.
but they're in the music business, the touring business.
When you announced the final run for Sum 41, was that something that you were hesitant to do?
Not when we announced it, but leading up to that decision, yeah, it took a long time for me to mentally allow myself to have those thoughts because I fought it and I pushed it off. Every time I had this feeling of, I don't know if I want to do this. I go, stop thinking like that. This is what you do. Sum 41's your thing. You created this thing. It's like all these songs you wrote. Like, you can't have those thoughts. And I would bury it. And then 6 months later, I'd have those thoughts again. Like, do I really want to keep going out there every year after year, 10 months a year? I'll stop thinking like that. So I did that for like 2 years. And then I finally got to a point where I was like, no, I'm having these thoughts for a reason because I feel like there might be something else out there that I'd like to do. I don't know what that is, but I'm having that gut feeling. Then I had to sit with that for about a year before I brought it up to the rest of the band. So it was a long time. So by the time we made that announcement, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, now we can finally say it to the public.
Why not let it kind of simmer, take 2 years off, and then start writing and say we're back if you wanted to versus
Because
closing
that's
it?
easy. I don't like easy. I like to if you want to, there's a famous saying, if you want to take the island, you got to burn the boats. Like, there's no going back. So if I'm going to go and do something, no safety net. You got to burn the boats.
100% all in.
Yeah. That's the only way that I like to operate. It's like, if I just like, oh, I'm going to explore something else, you'll always go back to just whatever's familiar, whatever's easy. And so as soon as something gets hard, you go, well, I got this thing so much easier over here. I'll just go back and do that. But if you got nothing to go back to, you got to take the island.
Do you think that was the same mentality when you first started the band, that this is how we're going to make it?
Yeah. Yeah. You just have that. It's not so much as a conscious thought when you're 19 or even younger when we were starting. But it's that was in me. But yeah, and then as I get older, I realize everything great comes out of something difficult in my life. So if there's something that feels like there's resistance there or it's tough, but I know I really want to do it, but it seems like really daunting and difficult, then I know what I want is on the other side of that. I may not know what it is, but I know that the answers lie on the other side of something difficult.
Since you've put Sum 41 away, have you found that next path of what you want to go down?
Not exactly to a point where I'm like, okay, this is my next thing. I have been doing things that are enjoyable, working on different projects, being creative. I started a clothing line that's really fulfilling and enjoyable.
Walking Disaster.
Which we just launched right before Christmas. So it's brand new. And that's a whole experiment in a way. I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do. I even trademarked that name in 2008. That's how long ago I started this company, but had no time to do anything with it. So I'm doing it now because it's something I've always wanted to do, but I also want to find out what I'm made of because it's a business I know nothing about. I don't know anything about actual business or clothing or, creating or designing anything. So let's try something I've never done before. Find out what I'm capable of. And at the same time, I only want to work on things that actually contribute to the culture, to society, to the thing I loved about making music is that it makes people feel good. And you go out on stage and you can see the smiles on people's faces. And there's this thing that you feel like you're contributing to people's lives. Clothing does a lot of the same kinds of things. It's all identity based. It makes people feel confident. It makes people feel good if they resonate with it. And I like that contribution. So if I can help make people feel great and be a part of something, that's the only thing that I really see myself wanting to do. In whatever I do at this age, it has to contribute. It has to have some sort of positive effect for people. I don't need to have a job for any reason. I don't want to have a job for any reason. So I just want to do things that contribute to, culture and society in whatever way I can.
Do you have a direction of where you want to take it or where you want it to be in a year, 2 years?
Everything I do, I want it to be the biggest possible thing I could ever imagine. So now what that actually is, I don't know. I'm getting into a business I know nothing about. So I'm going to start to figure out how it all works out and see how things happen and grow and then just step on the gas.
Have you been doing other songwriting?
Yeah. I mean, I can't help but write songs. I never really remember that I write songs because they just happen. So it's never top of mind. I never think, oh yeah, I got all these songs. It's like when somebody asks me, I go, yeah, I think I do. And then I'll look through my phone and I'll find out I have way more song ideas than I remember writing. And I did that recently. I was on a plane, I don't know, 2 months ago. And I was like, I feel like I've written some songs, don't really remember when or how many. Let me look at my phone and go through all my ideas. And I found that I had 25 or so either completed or almost completed or ideas that were worth completing. About 25 ideas. And I was like, I don't remember writing any of these. Like, when was I so productive? I've been working on so many other things. I don't remember writing, but that's just how writing works for me. It's like, if there's a guitar here, I could probably write you something within a minute or two. May not be good.
I have a guitar.
Yeah.
How does your songwriting process happen now? I know you're not writing for something, but do you just have the idea and you're writing lyrics down?
I don't write lyrics first. No, I just kind of like start coming up with something on guitar and then see where that leads me, and then start humming something over it and see where that goes. A lot of times it's not very good. And then now and then it's something worth throwing into my phone.
In your book, I found it so fascinating when you talk about how you have to write these new singles right before the album comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
That's a crazy talent.
I don't know if it's talent, but I mean, it's just, yeah, I think most songwriters will tell you we don't know where it comes from. We don't know why. And if we did, we would do it all the time. Every song would be a banger. Every song would be a hit if you could control it like that. So it's something I feel like it just kind of comes through you. I think you allow yourself to kind of just be open to whatever's like floating around out there. And sometimes you have like an antenna up and it just catches it, and you're lucky enough to be able to put it out into the world.
When All Killer No Filler went platinum after a month,
Mm-hmm.
did that give you some kind of certainty that you were going to be here for a while?
No, it made everything worse. It made everything, there's more fear that comes with that, because it was happening and it was like, all your dreams are coming true. So there's this excitement of like, it's working. I knew it. But now what? Now I'm like, for me as the songwriter, I was like, oh my God, I got to write more hits. And then that fear as the whole cycle goes on.
Of the touring, the promo.
Well, yeah, and of just like how big Fat Lip got as it kept going up, and then it actually went to #1, and then it's like, okay, now I have to follow that up, but like, what if I'm a one-hit wonder? That was my biggest fear. And then In Too Deep came out, and that did well too, so I was like, okay, thank God, I'm not going to be, at least I've got 2 songs out there, and we actually had 3 on that record, so it felt like the record was like, oh, I can breathe a little bit. But while I was on that tour, I remember seeing a VH1 special of like 1-album wonders of bands who had like these great albums, had 4 hits on it, and they never could do it again. I'm like, oh my God, that's a thing too? Maybe. So I was worried going into the next record of all that stuff. So much fear and anxiety. And again, it's stuff you put on yourself. No one was really saying that to me. It's what I fear. It's things I create.
How involved in the music videos were you for the ideas?
Oh yeah, I mean, they were all ours.
Even motivation, having it in that tight room.
Yeah.
On the tripods, the fisheye.
So the way the videos worked back in those days is one of us would usually have the spark of an idea. Sometimes we'd have a full idea, and it could kind of come from usually between Steve-O or myself, or Steve-O and myself, and then the other guys would kind of throw in ideas. I don't know if Dave necessarily had a full video idea, but he was really great at coming up with stuff to throw into the video. So that motivation one specifically was my idea originally, and I hated that video because it didn't look anything like what I had explained in my head. I've come to like that video now, but it took me about 20 years before I realized, you know what, it's actually not a bad video, because I was so stuck on this thing that it wasn't what I wanted, and I couldn't see it for what it really was. Every time I saw it, I just hated it. What I wanted, if you've ever seen this video, and then this was in my high school, it was Nirvana, a video called Sliver, or a song called Sliver. And it's just like this, it's probably a room this size, like small little room, and it was like a basement, and it just looked their jam room. And it just looked like badass, and it was just like shot on like 16 mil and stuff like that. It just looked gritty, and that's how I explained it. I was like, that's the reference, Sliver. And then when we get on a set, it was like, I remember we were all like, this looks like a rich kid's room. This doesn't look like any of our bedrooms that we had. We lived in I lived in a basement, I lived in apartment buildings. I didn't live in this rich kid's big bedroom. So I hated it forever. Now, here we are, however many years later, I can accept that it's actually not that bad.
Was there a conscious decision not to have a storyline in it because the previous 2 kind of did?
Yeah, I think we just wanted to have like a jam space video.
Show you guys off.
It was like, again, I loved that video, Sliver, from Nirvana, when I was in high school. I thought it was like the coolest video. And so when we had to choice to do videos. Like, let's do that. That always hit me when I was in high school. Let's do our own version of that. And it didn't look like that. So that was really the only concept for the video. It's like, I mean, okay, so Fat Lip and In Too Deep didn't really have a treatment, especially Fat Lip. Fat Lip was, let's pick 2 or 3 different places to show up and play. We'll invite a bunch of fans down because we only had fans at that time because we weren't that big yet. We only had fans in this little town outside of LA, Pomona, which is 50 minutes away, hour away from here. And we invited all our fans down and we said we'd do a show at the Glass House at the end of the whole video. And we're like, we got 2 days, we got 3 locations, which was a skate park, the liquor store, and I think, I don't know, maybe just, we were out on some streets, like some suburban streets, stuff like that. And we just said, we'll just get what we get. It'll be like a little documentary of 2 days. And we just put the camera on people. That was it. So everything that happens in that video was just people doing what they did once you threw a camera on them.
Hey, you want to shave your head? Sure.
Yeah, that was all just on the spot.
And you guys are so used to that from your videos already.
Yeah.
Was that trying to capture the essence of what you were already doing?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we knew we didn't want like some big slick, I mean, especially at that time, videos were very expensive and they're very glossy and very hyped up and stuff like that. It was like it was the boy band era and like the pop era and the hip hop, like all these videos were like $1 million and they looked really sparkly and everyone looked perfect.
Jets, mansions.
Yeah, and it was like this whole thing, right? So we were just like, let's not do anything like that. Let's do something gritty. Let's make it a documentary. Let's have no treatment and let's not hire people to be in it. Like, we're not good looking guys. Like, we'll just be us. Like, everything was just as real as possible.
What was the reception once MTV started airing it?
MTV, right from that point, was really, one, critical for our career, but also we had such a great relationship with them. Once we handed that video in, they were just like, you guys are perfect for this channel. They loved the personality of all 4 of us. They loved the videos we were handing in. And after In Too Deep, it was just like, you guys you're in.
You're playing Spring Break, the Winter
Yeah, they gave us
Bash.
everything. They put us on everything at that point. They always they covered everything we did, and we just had this great relationship with them.
Because you were good for them, they were good for you.
Yeah, it just worked.
Oh. Did you have a favorite performance that they brought to you?
Well, I have to say the MTV 20th anniversary where we opened the show and they let us do whatever we wanted. We said we want to do something like what we've seen before in the past where you have collaborations with like big artists and like we'd seen like Aerosmith and Run DMC, things like that. And they're like, great, do whatever you want. We'll help you get whoever you ask for. And we were like, okay, well, we want Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. Like, we didn't know any of these people. We're still 20 years old and just starting out. And Fat Lip was just starting to do something. So they're like, okay, cool, we'll ask him. He said yes. And we're like, well, let's ask Rob Halford from Judas Priest. He said yes. We're like, well, let's ask the Beastie Boys and let's ask Slash from Guns N' Roses. Those both said no. But still, we're like, okay, well, this is great. I mean, let's put a medley together. And so we opened the show. And from that moment on, the second we ended that whole little medley and opened that show, our lives were never the same. That was when everything, Fat Lip was doing well, but that's when it went to number 1. That's when MTV said, we're going to embrace you. That's when the video went to heavy rotation all over the world on MTV. Because at that time, MTV was like the biggest network in the world.
That was the discovery for musicians.
Yeah. I mean, it was in so many countries. It was in more countries than CNN at the time. So, that everything changed at that point.
What did having your song placed in American Pie and Bring It On do for you?
I always forget that happened. But I know that it's done a lot because still to this day, people come up to me saying, I know you from American Pie. I'm like, oh yeah, we were in that. I forgot. Like, it didn't mean anything to us at the time because it was just a movie to us. I mean, I don't know. Like, we cared more about going out on stage and seeing our video on MTV every day, that kind of stuff. Hearing it on the radio. Every time we got to a new city, you put on the rock radio and there we were.
What was the DVD? Did you guys do in Tokyo?
We did a live DVD in Tokyo, yeah.
For a performance like that, do you do anything different prior because it's being taped and televised? And
No, not in those days, especially no. No. I mean, we would always have a few drinks, a couple shots, go out and do our thing.
What was working for you? Why change it?
Yeah. We didn't really take that stuff too seriously. And it is another one of those things, that Tokyo DVD I hated for so long. I was so mad. It didn't turn out the way we wanted it. We chose to do it in Tokyo because the Japanese audience is so crazy and the mosh pits are insane, like nothing you'd ever seen before. So the whole purpose of doing it there was to capture the crowd. And we had this big meeting with all the producers and the camera people to make sure they filmed the crowd and make sure it looks good. And they didn't get any of it.
Was
So
it a
it's really
language?
just us.
Was it
right?
a language barrier?
No, because it was all Americans that came over to shoot it, and everyone was like, "Yeah, no problem, it's gonna be great." And then all of the shots of the crowd are pitch black; you can't see them at all. So it's just like a performance of us. And we're like, "No, no, no! The whole thing was supposed to be about the audience."
And then at that point, you don't really have a choice. You have to release it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't up to us. I mean, we got the label to do it. We just pitched it to the record company. They spent all the money on it. It was, they're gonna put it out. Probably cost them $500,000 to put that together.
At that point, too, are you feeling pretty secure with Sum 41, or you have that in the back of your head? We need
No.
to write another hit.
No, it's always you need another record, you need another hit. Yeah, I mean, those first 4 records were just done back to back every year with the first 4 records in 4 years. And then after that is kind of when the whole thing started to splinter a little bit. That's when Dave quit the band. We fired our manager. I took a little bit longer. It wasn't that long, but it was the first time we didn't have a record out the next year. It took 2 years this time.
Mm.
But, that was when things kind of just started to drift. And all of a sudden, that was the first time. This is now we're getting to Underclass Hero, which came out in 2007. MTV was like, we're not really going to play. We're not really playing videos that much anyway, and we're not really going to play this one that much. Radio was like, we're not going to play this song. And that was abrupt because everything had been working up until that point. So there was no thought of like, ooh, will they or won't they? Like we decided, okay, I had the stress of trying to write Underclass Hero. I got the songs. Everyone thought there were hits on the record. We put it out thinking, this one will go top 10 too, just like all the rest. And it didn't. It just didn't go anywhere.
But the fandoms loved it.
No, nobody liked it. It felt like the fans, David quit the band, so the jury was kind of out. Because at that time, people don't, I always had thought, because you do so many interviews and you talk about how things are done, and we would all talk about that I wrote the songs. And even with the band, like they would all say, well, Deryck writes the songs, blah, blah, blah. But everyone, for some reason, once he left, kind of attributed a lot of the songwriting to Dave. So they kind of felt that, oh, well, if Dave's gone, then this band sucks because there's no more guitar riffs. There's no more. And I'm like, why? But I wrote those riffs, but nobody knows that. And so that was shocking to me too, that so much of the credit of the things that I had done kind of just went out the window when Dave left. So when that record came out and it sounded different than the last record, which the record previous was heavy, this one was not. It was a little bit more like all killer and like pop punk kind of world.
The return to the pop punk era.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. I liked it and I was excited about it. But fans were like, "What the fuck is this? Like, you guys are heavy. You're a heavy band. We like the heavy stuff." They're like, "See, we knew it. Dave was the one who wrote it all." Oh. So that got very difficult personally, professionally. And you're also at a I don't like that period I don't like that age, or at least I don't like it for myself, that mid-20s, especially when you've had a lot of success already in your early 20s, because you think you know so much more. You think you're on way more solid ground. You think you're smarter than you are, or at least I did. And you realize you don't listen, or I wasn't listening to people as much. I felt like I knew more than other people, and things just started like falling apart. Other problem though is, and the biggest problem is, I wasn't trusting my gut anymore. I was thinking logically. And that's when I realized that I would, after all the failures and all that kind of stuff, I looked back at things and I thought, every time I thought about something and thought this was the right way to do it, that's when it went wrong. When I had no clue if this was going to work out, but I just had this feeling of being drawn towards a certain direction, that's when it worked out. I realized my gut is better than my mind.
Do you think your mind comes in because of the record label execs telling you what to do, and you're like, this worked last time. I think you're right. Let's do that. Rather than you be like, no. This is not how Sum 41 operates.
I think I was operating out of fear. I think I was always in fear of, keeping the success matching the last record success, and the fact that Dave had gone. And our manager, who was also our producer at the time, who played he played a big role in um, psychologically making me feel like if he wasn't around, that everything would fall apart. He'd kind of planted that seed early on. He was our manager from when we were 16, and he'd always planted that seed going along as we got more and more success. That it's like he is the biggest reason of it, and now he was gone. So I had all this fear, and I was just operating out of fear and trying to insert too much logic into it, which
Hmm.
really it was just things I was thinking, right? There's no logic there. I'm just like coming up with scenarios that could happen, and if I do this, maybe that'll happen. It's like it's not the way to do anything.
When the radio is not playing the song and MTV is not playing the music videos, where do you go to promote it?
The road. So my first I was like, okay, fuck it. If they're not playing it, we'll go out on the road. We'll do what we do and just bring it to the people and prove to people why this record matters, why we still matter. And even though Dave's gone, we're still a good band and we got this great other guitar player. And we put up ticket sales and they don't really sell that well.
Because of
And
all that.
who knows why? I was in shock of that too. I was like, wait a sec, we've just been playing arenas. Like I thought we had this fan base. We've had 4 records and like don't people just still want to see the old songs? Like who cares that they don't like the new record? Like it didn't make any sense and I couldn't understand it. And everything started falling apart there. And then about 4 weeks into that, I ended up hurting my back and I herniated a disc on stage and it completely took out all function in my legs. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair and tour was just over. So any promotion of the album was just gone. It was 4 weeks into the start of the album.
How's your back now today?
Well, a herniated disc is something that never goes away. So I'm really great right now, but I have to do so much work to take care of it. Like it's a daily, constant, lots of physio exercises. It's great though. I think because I always look at injuries as like a gift because it gives you the opportunity to really build up something that's weak, right? Something that's not serving you anymore. And you get stronger and it forces you to stay strong. And I can't ever stop working on myself. And so the bonus is that I just get healthier as I go because the consistency of it starts to compound. So it's not that I can't get injured, I can't get hurt, but I am so much more resilient now that I can handle things that would really throw me out before. And that took a long time to get to that place. So when I hurt my back, it was almost 20 years ago. And I took about 10 years of just re-injuring and not taking care of it and not doing the work of just always in pain and always messing it up and then also self-medicating with alcohol and all this stuff till I finally realized I got to take this seriously. And that began this whole other journey of just getting better, bettering myself in every possible way. But to answer your question, at this point, it feels great. Like I don't feel any pain. Again, not that I can't get injured. I could, but I can handle so much more than I could before.
Is that from years of holding the guitar and
Yeah,
jumping on trampolines?
I was gonna say, I think it's the trampolines.
Really?
Yes, absolutely, because the amount the amount of pressure that when you come crashing down, like if you just jump up and down, you're double or tripling your weight, right, on all your joints. Now throw in a guitar that is really heavy, Gibson Les Paul, they're notoriously really heavy, and then you start jumping on a trampoline and you're like coming down and just crashing on the ground night after night. Yeah, I think that played a part.
Sum 41 was pretty notorious with
Yeah,
that. Did
yeah.
anyone ever get injured in the show from jumping off trampolines?
I definitely hurt ankles. So did Dave. Cone was always kind of like unscathed. I think Steve-O hurt. He always had injuries from playing drums and stuff like that, even though he wasn't jumping, but he was so physical. And none of us did anything right. Like he didn't hold sticks right and we didn't jump around right. We didn't stretch well. Like we didn't, you're going out and you're trying to be super physical like an athlete, but we're so unhealthy and so uncoordinated and so unprepared to go out there. And then we have nobody to help us after the shows to like fix us like an athlete does. We just throw our bodies out there for 2 hours a night and destroy it and then just like hobble off and then just drink and party, stay up all night and sleep in a pretzel somewhere and wake up in all your clothes and wonder, why do I feel like shit?
Were you in a designated bunk that you would try and get to, or it was such party life wherever we
Well,
stay?
we always had our bunks, but yeah, I would wake up like this, just not remembering. I mean, all of us did. Sometimes, yeah, you'd wake up at somewhere you didn't remember how you got there, or sometimes you woke up at a house you don't remember getting to, and you're like, oh shit, I'm on tour. Well, whose house is this?
Who in the days of MTV, did you have any friends that you were on the charts with that you guys would have friendly competitions?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if we really looked at things as like competition. Um, we were definitely great. I just came from an interview with Joel Madden from Good Charlotte, and like we had such a parallel career. We started at the same time. We started in bands together, and we had success at the same time. And we went through all these things that similar, but separately. But we always were. We'd tour together, and then we'd go off and we'd do our own things, and we'd come back. But we were always friends. So I think those Good Charlotte was probably our closest friends throughout the whole thing. But we became friends with lots of people.
What was the love for Sum 41 on Much Music in Canada?
I think it was the same as MTV. I think the personalities, the music, the energy just lent itself. In the music videos, they were fun or funny. And that was just kind of like our personalities coming out in the video stuff. I mean, I always feel like in those early days, like that's where, as a band, it felt like we were more of the four of us, right? Because, like I said, the music was always my department. And because we had all that MTV stuff, that's where like the rest of the band got to contribute a lot more. And then once that all went away and it just kind of came down to the music, it's almost like not that we weren't a band, because obviously we were, but we were really only getting to be a band on stage, on tour, right? So it's like I would work on the music solo by myself because it's a very solitary process for me. Like I don't want anyone around. I can't even let my wife hear me. Still to this day, if I'm working on music, I'm in a soundproof room. My whole studio is fully soundproof, so I can do anything I want. Nobody can hear me.
You've always been like that.
Always been like that.
Even with Jerry?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like nobody hears anything till it's done. I don't bring even the band, if I'm making any record, they don't hear a single note until all 12 songs are as finished as I could possibly make them. And I hand them all, in those days, a CD, and I go, here's the whole record in a demo form. And that's that.
Hey guys, real quick, if you haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I have some incredible bands coming up, and I have incredible interviews with past bands. Neck Deep, Water Park, Simple Plan, Gym Class Heroes, tons of other artists. So if you like any of them, go check them out. Now back to the podcast. When you were writing Does This Look Infected or All Killer, were you trying to hit different styles of songs so that the listener had a full album and there was like a story told throughout?
The only thing I was trying to do in those days, because it was such a small window, was just get 12 songs. That's
12 bangers.
all I could do. Just 12 songs. There were no other songs. It's once I hit 12, I was like, okay, we're making the record. That's it. There was no other songs that just didn't make it or anything. It wasn't like I picked the 12 best. I picked
Just
only
pick 12.
12.
What was your process for writing songs then? Because you weren't writing on a smartphone. You weren't jotting notes down, were you? Like, what were you writing on?
Just a tape recorder. It's no different than your phone voice thing, but just like a little, like, Walkman thing that we used to do, cassette tapes. I still have all those cassette tapes.
Do you have a favorite song from Does This Look Infected that didn't get a music video?
So the song Thanks for Nothing was always slated as a single. That was supposed to be like the second single at the time. So the first song I wrote was Hell Song. The second song I wrote was Over My Head. And then Thanks for Nothing was soon after. And those felt like they were the singles at first. And I didn't write Still Waiting till like we were about to go into the studio. That was like the last thing. And that was really out of anger. That came out of something. I was having this big fight with my manager at the time because, I was talking about a lot of the psychological stuff. I remember we had this big fight and he left. He'd been working with this band at the time who was a heavy band, and he kept like using this band as like, you're going to be opening for my other band here. These guys are so much better than you, blah, 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 blah. And he left, and I just said, well, I'm going to write a song, the heaviest thing I've ever written, and I'm going to show you and this band how like a heavy song is going to sound like. And that's really was my whole thing. And I just picked up a guitar and I just almost I mean, the lyrics and the melody and the verse, the screaming, the riff, everything just kind of came out at once. But that's all it was at first. It was just like the chorus, the riff, and the verses. And I didn't have the bridge. I didn't have anything. And we were in the studio making the record, and I was hanging back at the hotel while they were cutting drums for stuff. And Steve was only there for a week to do drums, so I had this 1 week before he left because we were in New York at the time, and I had to finish Still Waiting. So that first week of recording, I was just working on that song. And then by the last day, before he left, I was like, okay, I got it. I finished the song. We just went in and did it, and that was that.
Was there any kind of celebration when you finished recording?
No, there's no celebration. There's no time for celebration. And you're young. You don't really think about that stuff. You're just moving forward. I don't remember when Fat Lip went #1. Like, I have no clue what we did, who told me. I don't remember it. I just know that it did.
Do you remember seeing the cut of the music video?
Yes.
Did it feel special?
No. But what did feel special, and I didn't bring it up with Joel today, but what felt special was we got a cut of the video. We were in LA, and we were walking down the street, and we saw Benji and Joel from Good Charlotte. And we're like, what are you guys doing here? Because none of us lived in LA at the time. They're like, oh, we're doing stuff with the record company. And we're like, we just shot our video. And it's funny because we were both staying at the same hotel, and they had VHS players in the rooms for some reason. And so we're like, let's go watch this cut of the video. I'm like, we'd already seen it. And I was like, I don't know if I like it. I can't tell. Like, you tell us. And we played it, and both Benji and Joel were like jumping up and down. And they're like, this is amazing. You guys are going to be superstars. This is the greatest video. So that's when I felt like maybe we do have something. Okay. That's a pretty good reaction. I thought it wasn't that great, but okay.
You guys spent a lot of time here in California.
Yeah, yeah.
This just became like the hub.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of music too, especially in those days. I mean, it was very Southern California kind of sound. And we kind of took off here pretty quickly, more than other places.
Like the Pomona crowd, you're saying?
Yeah, just like LA, San Diego, like this sort of, I mean, we would play Bakersfield. We play like all around, Ventura, all those kind of places. And that was really taking off before the rest of the country, other than Chicago and Detroit, maybe Seattle, and then the LA area. That was kind of the beginning.
Did you have a favorite venue that you used to play at?
Not necessarily, because we just love to play. I mean, you put a stage anywhere, we'll play. It didn't really matter.
Did you ever play Starland Ballroom?
Oh, yeah.
Did you like it there?
Not really.
No.
I'm just kidding. No, it was cool. Yeah, it was cool. The only thing, that place was really big, but it just didn't feel big because of like the low ceiling, low stage. But it was like, capacity-wise, it was always like a great place to play because the crowds are great, but you didn't feel like you were playing this big venue, even though it was big.
What was your mentality when you were going on these festivals that it was your first time being there? Did you feel like you had to prove yourself?
Yeah, always. I felt like right up until the last show, you're proving yourself. I don't think I've ever felt, every record that came out always felt like it's a first record. Like, at least mindset for me, like, was always like, it's as important as your first record. You got to go out there, remind people. Like, I've never took it for granted or felt like, oh, we're just us now. Like, it's just, we have it made. It's like, you have to prove every time.
Even for the Juno Awards, when you play your final one, this is like, we got to be remembered.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was a big one. That was like, you want everybody there and everybody watching online or wherever it was, or anybody who was part of the whole thing. You want to take away any doubt that we should be there, right? I want people to say, oh, well, I mean, of course they belong here. That's the way my mind works anyway.
Did the label ever want you to re-record Makes No Difference to put it as like a more production sound or put it on the debut?
Yeah, well, we did re-record Makes a Difference for All Killer, and we left it off. So there is a version that was done with Jerry Finn that sounded more like All Killer and was, I wouldn't call more polished, because that was, the thing with Jerry is that he wasn't necessarily polished as a producer. The sound wasn't necessarily some really expensive sound. He was just so good at getting the best take out of you, because in those days, I mean, we were still recording on tape. There's no editing on anything. It's just what you hear is the band playing. So in those days, we had to do take after take to try to get the right one. And Jerry was really good at that. But as far as the professional thing, I mean, that's just us playing, right? Like, there's nothing really professional about it.
How important was Jerry to All Killer No Filler?
Really important because of that fact. Like, when we got our record deal and we made Half Hour Power, we were out on tour. We thought we were a kick-ass band. We thought we fucking knew what we were doing. Then we got into the studio with Jerry and found out we did not know what we were doing. He made us do take after take, and
Do
he
you
was
trust him at this point? Like he knows the way?
not like that where we're like, oh, Jerry, just take us. There were times where I'm like, I don't know about this, man. Are you serious? That wasn't a good take. I thought it was a great take. You know, you do have that, but it's like, okay, fine. Maybe you hear something we don't, and we're also kids. So he was the adult. So we still had that mentality of like, we have to listen to him. He's the adult in the room. So we went down the path, and then, you know, after a while you realize, okay, it is actually sounding better and better and better. So we just would follow it, and he got the best out of us.
Were there any songs that weren't singles that really blew you away at how it sounded?
So the funny thing about that record, I would say, and I think where Jerry really helped me personally was, so I went into that record with only about 6 songs, and he had told me, "Don't worry, you'll write more." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if I will." And I didn't really. It took a while. Like it took a few times of going back into the studio and taking breaks because I didn't get enough songs at the first time we went into the studio with Jerry. But where Jerry helped was I'd been working on this song, which I was calling Punk Hop, which was Fat Lip. And I was like, I'd been trying to mix old school hip hop with our sound of pop punk or whatever you want to call it. We weren't calling it pop punk in those days, but and it had been taking me about a year to a year and a half of trying to put the song together and all these different iterations. There's so many demos of that song with different parts, and it was all over the place. I'd finally landed on something I thought was kind of cool, but I was so embarrassed by it. And I hadn't shown the band. Didn't tell anybody about it. But I had this demo that I felt was kind of special, or at least there was something there. And so I told Jerry about it, and he was like, "Let me hear it." And I was like, "I'm so embarrassed. I can't. Like, I feel like just bring it into the studio and play it for me." So we kicked everybody out of the studio. It was late one night when everyone had left, and we closed the door and locked it, make sure no one could come in. And I played it, and I was so just like hiding my face the whole time because I was so embarrassed because I'm doing all the rap stuff. Like, there's no band on it. Like, it's very similar to what you hear on the record, but I was doing all the parts, and it was like gibberish lyrics and a lot longer parts and way more old school hip hop sounds and stuff like that in it. But it was basically the song. And it gets to the end, and I'm like, "Do you hate it?" And he's like, "That's your first single." I was like, "You think so?" He's like, "I think that's the best song you've ever written." And I was like, "That's what I've been wanting you to say, and I've been hoping that was the case, but it's really embarrassing sounding too." And he was like, "You know what? I think we take out all that like old school hip hop stuff that you're adding into it. Like, keep the vibe, but like you guys just play it. We don't need to have sampled drums in the verse and like sound like LL Cool J circa 1986. You know, like let's just you play the instruments." I was like, "Okay, let's try that." And that was where Jerry was probably the best.
What did you do on Alice in Wonderland with Avril?
We worked on the theme song for that together.
Was that a fun process?
It was just quick. You know, it wasn't really much. I think the best part about that was that we got to go down and talk to Tim Burton about what he wanted, and we were at his offices and just being in the room with him. That was the cool part. And then going to the premiere in London and like seeing Tim Burton at the after party and going up and like talking to him and being like, "Yeah, we did this thing." You know, it was kind of cool.
What came first, that or the Spider-Man soundtrack?
Oh, Spider-Man was 2001.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland was what, 2010.
How's your relationship with the Spider-Man song now?
I always hated that song.
Do you still? Because I loved it. I was at your final LA show, and I wish I had a sign to play it.
No, I don't love it. I love parts of it. So I always liked how we had it on Half Hour Power, where it was like a short thing. I didn't think it needed to be a 3.5-minute song with like 3 verses and repetitive choruses. Like, it was what it was, and it was cool as a smaller 1-minute thing. It had a charm to it. I didn't like how long we had to turn that into, you know, the whole thing was just, and then the video I didn't like. It was just a bad experience. I didn't like that I got talked into, well, we all got talked into it. It wasn't my sole decision. We all agreed. We all fought it, but the label put on the pressure. And I mean, the thing that sealed the deal for us was Rick Rubin wanted to produce it. We never met Rick. We thought, well, maybe we don't know what we're talking about. If Rick Rubin says it's a great song and he wants to do it, well, let's go down that path. I still think I was right. My gut was telling me. So again, I'm bringing logic into it, right? The label said Sony, who was doing the movie, wants to put all this money into the video and all the promotion, and Rick Rubin wants to do it. And it's like, well, this all sounds great on paper. Logically, this makes sense, so let's do it. And then it conflicted with my gut feeling, and of course, we all regretted it.
Do you wish that song didn't happen?
Yeah.
Is that the only one out of the whole catalog?
Not. Well, it's not that I'm fine with songs that maybe I look back and go, man, it wasn't that great a song, fine for the album, but I don't really regret songs that were released other than that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look back at any of the singles and go, oh my God, what were we thinking?
Do you have a favorite music video off Heaven Hell?
I liked all the videos off that record, but if I had to pick one, I thought Dopamine was really good. Landmines was really fun, and I liked the one that we did at the Punk Rock Museum. Oh, I forget what that song's called now. Waiting on a Twist of Fate. Rise Up was good in the airplane. I liked them all.
Were you surprised at the response for Landmines?
Beyond. Yeah. When I wrote that song, I finished it. It was very quick. It was one of those ones that just kind of came like fully formed. I picked up a guitar and I was like, it took as long as the song is to write. I just kind of like wrote it as it was going, and it was when I finished playing it, I was like, well, that song's done. And I recorded it, and I listened to it over and over for about 10 minutes, and I'm like, I think this song's a hit. And I immediately go, but not for us, not for Sum 41. And I went out to my kitchen, and I told my wife, because again, she can't hear anything I'm doing. So I said,
I love that.
I go, I think I just wrote a hit. She's like, I've never heard you say that. I go, it's a hit song, but not for Sum 41. And she was like, well, what does that even mean? I go, it means if it was done by another band, say a new band, it'd probably be a hit. But like radio doesn't play our new stuff. They haven't for 15 years. We haven't had a new song on the radio. No matter how many songs we put out, radio doesn't play us anymore. At least the new stuff. They play the old stuff. But so she was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know how the music business works, but that sounds weird to me. And so sure enough, down the road, the record gets made. They're talking about that's the first single. It keeps going through all the different tests. Like everybody who hears it says that's got to be the first single. And I keep thinking, yeah, but it's not going to work. Like they won't play us. And then it came out and it went to number 1. So I was like, yeah, to answer your question, I was shocked.
Did it make you feel like maybe you shouldn't close the chapter of Sum 41?
There's always moments that you go, am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decision? Like everything's going pretty damn good. Especially when you're up on stage doing the thing that I love the most and you're playing to sold out arena. You're like, should I be walking away from this? You have those moments, but I still fall back on the gut feeling that my gut is telling me I got to explore.
Has there been any conversations of a 30-year anniversary? Or a 25-year anniversary?
Well, 30 years would be this year, right? We started the band 30 years ago this year.
And 25 years for All Killer this year.
25 years of All Killer. There's always an anniversary. It's the 10th year anniversary of 13 Voices this year. It's the 10th anniversary of Screaming Bloody Murder this year. So there's 4 anniversaries this year.
Long tour.
Is there talk? No. There's no Sum 41 talk. Would I get up and play and do something? That's not out of the question. I don't have any plans. But as I said, I love to perform. Is there a way to celebrate some of this stuff or just get up and play one night? Maybe. I don't know. You've kind of given me a thought here. Maybe I'll explore it. I don't know.
Looking back now, times are so different, but was releasing your album on January 1st a good idea?
Is that when it came out?
Yeah. All Killer came out on New Year's Day.
No, it didn't.
I think so.
No.
That's what it said on Spotify.
So. No.
It says January 1st, 2001.
Fat Lip came out we didn't even shoot the video till March.
Oh.
So the song came out, I'm going to say the record came out in the summer. It came out in like June. I think it feels like it's like May 27th or something, the 28th. I don't know.
Was that
look that up.
Was that a big release day for you?
Absolutely. I mean, when that record came out, I mean, it was, you're nervous, but also Fat Lip was out and was doing well. So you had some confidence.
May 8th, 2001.
May 8th. I knew there was an 8 in there.
Yeah.
when All Killer came out, we didn't really have a reference of like what was a big first week. You know, this is still in the days of like album selling. Even though Napster had been out and had kind of disrupted the music business, there was still like albums were still being sold. So, but we didn't have a reference of like what's a big first week. Um, we knew Half Hour Power had sold a certain amount, so you can kind of gauge that that's how many people knew of you. And sure, now there's Fat Lip doing well, but it's still early. It's not like it's a big hit or anything. Maybe there's like a few extra people. So when it sold what it sold, which I think was 49,000 that week, in 1 week, we were like, we hadn't even sold 50,000 on Half Hour Power the whole year. So that blew our minds.
Did you go to the store and support your band?
Probably. See, these are the things again. Like we didn't take those moments in because you're young. We would have been on the road somewhere. We may have gone in just to buy our own CD. I don't know. But you don't really take a lot of that stuff in when you're that young.
How'd you go about what you wanted to put on the DVD that was attached to the CDs?
Well, all that stuff that we did back in those days was just what we did. So
Was that just for fun?
Yeah, it was always just for fun. We just we taped everything, we filmed everything we did. So we didn't do it for anything other than to make us laugh and to make our friends laugh back at home. And we had sort of built this thing of using that to get signed. So we knew that that worked to bring attention. So once we got to the point of like, well, now we have bigger budgets and we can put it on a DVD and put that out. Like it just evolved into that. I met somebody yesterday who came up to me and said, you shaped my early humor because when I was really young, I was one of those people that wrote in to your fan club and got a free VHS of your stuff sent to me. Cause that's what we used to do. That's how you would try to like spread. Well, it's not how you would do it. That's how we did it. Like there was nobody else was doing that. It's not like that's what every band was doing. I'd even forgotten that we had that kind of stuff. Like I remember we used to throw VHS off the stage and hand them out at shows and try to spread this word of all our antics. That was our YouTube at the time. Was like, hey everybody, watch all this funny stuff we do. And yeah, we had this thing set up through the record company that anybody could write in and say, send me a free VHS. And the record company paid for all these VHSs to be sent out to all these fans who were interested.
Those videos are what attracted me to your band because I'm like, who are these guys driving around shooting people with water guns? It was the coolest thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was like our version of going viral back then.
Did you ever get in serious trouble doing any shenanigans?
Sometimes, not serious trouble. I mean, lots of times police were called, especially at hotels.
But it's like, what do you do? We're throwing water balloons.
Yeah, I mean, there was sometimes things were a little bit more serious, but yeah, like I remember, like I did get arrested in France and got thrown in jail, stuff like that. I mean, the par for the course in those days. But sometimes, like Cohen went to the hospital one time. A few people went to the hospital. I think we sent Kelly Osbourne to the hospital one time, all by accident, not intentionally. But just doing stuff. I think one of the times there was a little bit. We didn't realize that you could get seriously hurt or even killed. Was we were lighting off a lot of fireworks in some city, I don't know, Midwest, and we were blowing up bottles, just like glass bottles, in a parking lot at night, and people thought they were gunshots. So somebody came over with a gun, being like, "What do you guys do?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, we're in America. You can't do that stuff here. People got guns."
Sum 41 is known for destroying hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Do you know the most expensive hotel bill you guys ever got?
No, I don't. I have no idea because we never cared or paid attention to it.
Would it just come out of the band fund?
Yeah. Yeah, and we just didn't really think about that stuff. It was just like, well, what else are we going to spend it on? And a lot of times we just didn't have that much money. So whatever money we made, we're like, well, we can't do anything with that money anyway. It's going to just turn into nothing. We're going to go buy something stupid anyway. So why don't we just throw it towards the damage?
Right. Do you have a favorite album looking back?
Obviously, I have such a personal relationship because I wrote every song on it, on every record. So to me, it's like one big body of work. But if I had to pick a record front to back, I really love Screaming Bloody Murder and I really love Heaven and Hell all the way through. Every other record, sure, there's songs that I love more than others. Like I still think Fat Lip is probably my favorite song because of just what it is and what I went through to write it and how long it took and that whole story I told you with Jerry and just like that journey of it. Um, but I don't love every song on All Killer, but I love every song on Heaven and Hell, and I love every song on Scream Bloody Murder. Does Look Affected, there's probably a song or two in there that I don't love.
Was there a conscious decision in your track listing that you wanted to put a good song more toward the front, the top of this album, rather than bury it at number 8?
Not necessarily, no, but the sequence was always important to me. I always looked at it, and the way I always write songs, and I still do to this day, is it has to make me feel like I'm on stage. So I don't just write a song that I think, well, this will sound cool for somebody to listen to it. I write a song, and if it makes me want to like kind of get up and move and play it, and I feel like, oh yeah, this could work live, that's how I write songs. And so when a sequence of an album comes, it's like a set list to me. I look at it like, how would this feel as a set list on stage?
Do you have a favorite song you like performing?
Yeah. I mean, again, I like all the songs, but I do like playing songs like Pieces. I like the ones that you end up singing more rather than just rocking out, which is funny because I prefer to listen to aggressive music. But if I'm going to perform something, I kind of like some of the slower stuff because you just kind of, there's more emotion in it.
Mm-hmm.
I like singing rather than just like shouting stuff.
Who are you listening to now?
It's always the same stuff that I always listen to, which tends to lean more classic rock, Aerosmith, the Stones, AC/DC. But then Metallica, Iron Maiden, throw in Run DMC, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, like all the same stuff I always listen to, really. Punk rock stuff, Clash, Sex Pistols.
I know you've talked about selling your catalog.
Mm-hmm.
Was it tough for you to let go?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I did it. Because again, I like to do things that scare me the most and things that it was another like burning the boats. Because when the idea came up to sell the catalog, I thought, why would I get rid of all my songs? I worked so hard on them. I love them.
Are they making you money at that point too still?
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's that too. You're just like, well, there's no point to. Like it just doesn't make any sense. And I thought, but again, it's like I never make decisions based on money. And because money doesn't make you fulfilled, money doesn't make you happy. It can make life easier. That's about the best money does. And it can make it much more difficult too, though. But it can make it easier. That's really the way I look at money. So for me, I started thinking about it like, man, imagine if I just didn't have any songs anymore. Like, what would that feel like? And I thought as a thought experiment, what if I just wake up tomorrow and act like I don't have any songs? I sold them all. And I don't own anything anymore. And I woke up and I had that fear and that fire and that hunger in a way of like, I need to write more songs. I don't have any songs. And that's when I started writing songs like Landmines and other songs on that record. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, songs just started like coming out of me. And I'm like, I think that's telling me something. So I just kind of kept with that thought experiment, acting like I have no songs. And as time went on, I got more comfortable with like, you know what? I actually think this could be a good thing for me creatively to get rid of my songs. And now when it came to working at the deal, I didn't fully get rid of my songs. I gave away portions of it and I still retain parts of, I couldn't fully give everything away. But that thought experiment of like not having anything helped me write all those songs for Heaven and Hell.
Do you get to chime in if somebody wants your song?
Everything. Yeah. I have full veto power on everything.
Oh, so cool.
And that's all I really, really cared about because throughout my career, I mean, I talk about it in my book. I mean, just like many musicians when they're young, they get screwed over. And I didn't own a lot of my songs anyway. So like I did fight and eventually get some of them back, but I was like 35, 37 maybe when I got it back. And when this catalog thing came up, I was 40. So it was like, I mean, I just got them back. It's not like I've had them forever. Like I kind of like, I can understand, I can wrap my head around not fully owning all percentage of my songs.
How often are people trying to get a Sum 41 song now?
Well, it's always been something that comes up. I get requests all the time.
What would pique your interest?
Well, I said yes to the Taco Bell commercial that came out last year. And that's like one of the only times I've really done that for a commercial. And it was just because, for one, the guy that was doing it was a punk rock guy and he put it together. And I thought
The director?
it wasn't the direct, whoever, like the guy who puts like that, like the marketing director, I guess you would call it, for Taco Bell. He was like a punk rock guy.
Hmm.
And I thought he did a good job and with the way they did it. And that was really the only reason I said yes. I just thought it worked. It
Right.
was a gut feeling. I was like, I say no to this stuff daily, but for some reason I like this one.
Ah. In your book, you're pretty open about your health journey.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect your songwriting, and where is it now?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I don't know if it helped or hurt. I don't. I've always felt like the songwriting thing and the creativity was kind of there no matter what state I was in, what situation I was in, what kind of life situation I was in. I was always able to retreat and write music. Except when I got really, really bad and fell really hard into alcoholism, like where that just kind of stripped everything away. But that was a shorter period of time. Um, it was like a 2 year period where I'd kind of like fell off the cliff and crossed that invisible line of where I was a guy who drank a lot into a guy who was now dependent on alcohol.
Were you aware of that in the moment?
Not so much as you're crossing the line, but like once you're deep in it, like realizing, oh, this is not good. Because I would have moments where I'd say, I don't want to drink anymore. This is not how I want to wake up and live my life. But I'd, I'd start shaking and I would have all these effects of withdrawal. And that shocked me because I'd never had that before. And that's when I realized, oh, I've crossed a line. I'm now dependent. I didn't know I could be dependent because I've been drinking for so long without going that far and being that I'd never felt any addiction to it. It was the last 2 years that I crossed the line. So that was the hardest part. And in those 2 years, everything else was gone out of my life. You know, I was not being creative. I wasn't a good performer. I wasn't anything but a guy who just woke up and drank all day.
Where were you in that point in your life?
Well, this is about 2012 to 13. It's during the Scream Bloody Murder tour, sort of like the latter half of that. I just started like going downhill. So it was like the last year. It was a 3 year tour on Scream Bloody Murder, and that last year, I was just falling apart.
Was there a wake-up call that made you want to change?
Well, yeah, I mean, my liver failed, and I ended up in the hospital, and I was stuck there for 4 weeks, and all my organs were failing, and I was going in and out of the ICU for weeks, and the doctors were unsure if I was going to make it out alive at all, and it was a 50-50.
Did you have pneumonia at that time too?
No.
That was separate.
Yeah, and so anyways, that was the wake-up call. I mean, you come that close to death, that will sober you up and also make you realize like how quickly you can just disappear and how great moving forward became for me. Where it's like it's always on my mind. Like there's not a day that goes by that I'm not grateful for another day, because that's what that kind of experience does. And it you realize how easily you can go, and especially within this business, like I've just told you, like a lot of people I know have died. I mean, there's so many people, like every few months I'm finding out somebody else has passed away. So it's always kind of like right there, but I don't look at death as like this thing that's like haunting me or it's like always in the back of my mind. I look at it as like a guide or a counselor to remind you to live life and to enjoy life and to grow and to contribute and to just work on yourself to get better and healthier in every way, mind, body, and soul. And that's what I've been on this journey for now 12 years of this consistent working on myself, either physically or mentally, to grow and to just get better at anything and everything that I do.
Was the journey outside of the hospital as soon as you got out?
It was a long journey. I mean, getting out of the hospital, I couldn't walk for about a year. I mean, there were so many problems I came out of the hospital with, which was like nerve damage in my feet, because like I'd retained so much bile from drinking. Like I was so bloated that my feet had swollen up and it caused all this nerve damage. And it just felt like I was walking on hot coals all the time. And that lasted for like a year. I've been drinking and so immobile for so long, and then being in the hospital bed, not moving for 4 weeks. I mean, the amount of muscle atrophy, like I couldn't move my legs, I couldn't stand, I couldn't hold my own weight. And then again, the pain, even if I could hold my own weight, it was just too much. So there was so much of recovery just out of the hospital. My motor skills were off. I couldn't form sentences. I couldn't play guitar. My fingers couldn't make a chord. Like everything was bad. And then when I started writing songs, it wasn't that I was writing bad songs. It was like I didn't know how to write songs. I kept thinking like, how did I write all those songs? I don't even know where to begin. How do I write a lyric? It just felt like it was something that I didn't know how to do. So it was like learning all this stuff, and it took 3 years of that rebuilding, then writing, making a record, and going out on a tour, and then ending that tour was a 3-year process. And that when I came home from that tour, 3 years out of the hospital, that's when I felt like, okay, I'm starting to kind of feel a little bit more comfortable in my own skin. Now I can start working on some other stuff in my life. Maybe I can start eating a bit better, healthier, because the time, even though it's like healthy eating, like my body was so ruined. I had to eat a certain way to build it back up, like a lot of meat that I don't normally eat and stuff like that. Just eating in a way that I wouldn't normally eat. A lot of carbs that I just wouldn't normally, things I didn't even like, but I had to eat because it helped me gain strength back and all that stuff. So, anyways, long story short, it's been this journey of just getting better and better every year and making small improvements. It's nothing like, not some big, crazy change, but it's led me to this point now, 12 years out of the hospital, where like, I've done recent blood tests where I'm like, I'm almost a decade younger inside than my actual age.
Congrats.
So and internally I feel like the amount of energy I have, the way my body feels, I feel better than I did when I was 20. So I feel like my energy level is getting better and better as I get older, which is part of the reason why I wanted to leave Sum 41, because I'm like, I got too much I want to do, and I feel like I'm stuck doing one thing. I got too much energy to do one thing. I want to do a few different things and try different stuff and go here and go there and do all these things. And I want to like spend time learning more and it just, again, it comes from this like compounding effect. It's not like this just overnight switch. But I feel like all I can say is I feel better now than I've ever felt in my life. I'm
Congrats.
about to be 46, going on 20.
You look incredible.
So,
You really do.
well, I don't know how I look, but I feel amazing.
Speaking of all these new things coming up, is there anything with Walking Disaster that's going to be out anytime soon?
Yeah, so like we were talking before, like Walking Disaster clothing is like a new thing that I'm trying to figure out and navigate. And we had our launch right before Christmas. That went way bigger and better than I thought it was going to be. It had actually sold out way quicker than I thought it was going to sell out. So I thought we'd still have a lot of stuff right now. But that whole experience of the launch just taught me, okay, people are interested. So I've gone back to the drawing board. I've been working on a bunch of new stuff, new items, which are probably going to come out in February. It's going to be the next drop. So I don't have the exact date yet, but obviously, like everything, there's a Walking Disaster Instagram. You can subscribe for email updates on the website, walkingdisaster.com, all the typical stuff. And it's really me dealing with all that stuff. So like if you get an email from me, it's me. If you hear from me on Instagram, it's me.
For the designs, what's your inspiration behind those?
A lot of times it's like writing a song. Like I don't know what I'm going to do. I just kind of like start either sometimes I'll draw stuff, and I'm not a great artist by any means, but I can kind of get the idea down, or I'll do something on the computer and I just start messing around with stuff. And I kind of figure it out the same way I work with like just trying to find a riff, and then that grows and then it turns into this and it goes sideways and it goes bad and then it turns into something good and then this. And then because I'm not the best person at the computer, I will take that and I have somebody who knows how to like take that and make it a professional looking thing.
Right.
And that's what we send to the people who, make up the stuff, because it has to be, they call it like tech pack or whatever. It has to have all the coding and all the stuff for it to be printed, right? So
Well, Walking Disaster is going to be linked down below. Your book's going to be linked down below as well.
cool.
You did the audio book
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Was that weird for you to revisit that again and talk out loud about it?
Yeah. Doing the audio was really difficult. It was hard to the whole thing was difficult, which I love. um,
It seems to be a theme.
yeah, like writing the book was very hard, but after a while, and I'm writing it over and I'm like reading it over and like, fixing the grammar and like you just read it over and over and over again, you become used to it. What felt difficult is now just like, oh, this is fine. But then the audio came and I'm like, oh wow, I gotta say this out loud. And I'm in a studio with people I don't know. There's an engineer and there's a producer there, and I've never met these people. And I gotta talk about some of this stuff that's really hard to talk about. And I'm saying it out loud for the first time. Yeah, that was really hard. And then you get through it. And you're like, well, that was pretty easy. Now I don't mind talking about it. But then you got to go on the press tour. Now I got to talk about this in front of a live audience. And there's like, now I'm doing interviews about it. This is really hard. And then I'm here with you today. I'm like, no, it's actually pretty easy at this point.
I saw you at the Grammy Museum
Oh, yeah.
when you did your book tour for that.
Yeah, it was
That was
fun.
fun.
It was cool.
Real quick, there's just some fan questions.
Okay.
Chuck is one of the greatest punk albums of all time. That's one note.
I don't know if I agree, but okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the memories and great music. Hope you're enjoying life.
Oh, cool. I am very much enjoying life.
If you could change any album's lead single, which would it be?
Underclass Hero.
What would you put?
Walking Disaster. So that record it was like a back and forth of which should be the first single. And there was this big fight and it was split down the middle. So many people in the organization wanted one and vice versa. And I went and I put my foot down. I said, let's go with Underclass because it felt logically like the best song. But now emotionally, like Walking Disaster, I just can admit it was a better song. It should have been the first single.
Was there?
But at this point, I don't now think that. I did for a long time. I felt like, and I stacked all the reasons why that was a mistake. And I kept playing that over and over. Like, what if that record was a bigger record? What if those tickets sold? What if maybe I wouldn't have hurt my back? Maybe this and that would have happened. And all these maybes and what could have. And I started realizing one day, like, wait a second. My life is amazing. My wife is incredible. And we've been together 15 years. And it's like every single day I love her more. And I miss her. Like if she leaves to go to the store for 10 minutes, I never would have met her if things had went another way. Like there's so many things I could point to in my life that I'm just so thankful and grateful for that just never would have happened. So now I realize everything happens for a reason. The dots connect in reverse. And so I don't really regret anything.
Was there ever an idea for a Jester music video?
No.
No?
No.
Do you like that song?
I do. Yeah. I like a lot of songs on that record. I mean, I thought that was the best work I'd ever done when that came out. And when everyone, or not everyone, but when a lot of people didn't like the direction it went in, I sort of tended to think, oh, maybe I didn't know what I was doing. Maybe the songs all suck. I don't know. The funny thing about that record is that's the record. We probably played more songs from any record live. Like
On the tour?
Yeah, over the years, like that always got the most songs. Like we would play like 5 or 6 songs from that record, 3 from All Killer, 3 from Does This Look Infected, 2 from Chuck, 6 from Underclass Hero.
Please ask about Screaming Bloody Murder and the legacy that the album took on several years later.
I don't know if there is much of a legacy of that record. I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't know. That was another one of those records that it came after Underclass, and I felt like it unfairly got judged in a way. I would hear reviews or people talk about that record. I'm like, did you hear the record? Because what you're saying doesn't connect with the sound of that record. It was kind of strange. Like people would say, I wish you would go back to heavy music. And I go, oh, well Scream Bloody Murder is like our heaviest record. And they're like, yeah, but I don't like that one. I'm like, well, but it's our heaviest. Like you just said heavy. Well, I don't even know what you're talking about then.
Right.
So, whatever, I don't know what people think of that record. I don't know of a legacy of that record.
If Jerry had done Does This Look Infected, do you think it would have been a little more pop punky?
No, I think it would have been the same record. It would have sounded a lot better. It would have felt a lot better. I always regretted that he didn't do that record. The songs were the songs. And Jerry wasn't really much of he didn't have a sound. He was just good at getting what you wanted. But sonically, he knew great guitar tones and he knew drum sounds and he knew when you had a good take. That was his specialty. And he was just a great person in the studio. He was so funny. One of the funniest guys I've ever met. So he made you feel so comfortable and you had a great time and you'd go out. The energy was great. So you just had a good time and you played differently because of it. It was just all that kind of stuff.
Very cool. Deryck, thanks so much for coming by.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Walking Disaster is going to be linked down below. Comes out in February. Go check it out.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you guys so much for watching the podcast with Deryck. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment down below and a thumbs up. Let me know who else you want to see on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching.